What's good, y'all? My name is Dylan Green, and this is Real Notes, a space dedicated to blurring the cultural and artistic lines between rap and film. I'm here to chop it up with everyone from rappers and producers to journalists and video directors about their relationship to movies and how, if at all, film inspires their craft. My guest this week is producer, rapper, musician, writer, director, and Brainfeeder label head Flying Lotus. We talked about the importance of Jurassic Park and Fist of the North Star, working with Cowboy, Bebop, and Samurai Champloo creator Shinichiro Watanabe, the creative process behind the Netflix anime series Yasuke, and the feeling of creating an anime theme song for the first time ever. Come fuck with us. Wow, this is already a wild intro. What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to whatever number episode of Real Notes this is. I can't keep track anymore. This is Dylan Green, CineMasai. I got names. There's a bunch. That's two of them. I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I have an incredibly special guest on my show this week. This man is a producer, a beat maker, a director, writer, anime fan, cat fan, Brainfeeder label head. Like, I could list titles all day, but we got fucking Flying Lotus, Steve Ellison in the building. Like, Lotus, wow, hey. Welcome. Like, thank you for coming on my shit, man. I really appreciate it.
Of course, hey.
Wow. So I'm going to start this off by asking you the first question that I ask everybody, which was, when was the first time you saw a movie?
The first movie I can remember enjoying and stuff was like Labyrinth, Ghostbusters, that kind of stuff. Going to the movies, probably like the same stuff. I don't know. It was it's getting foggy. It's getting foggy. But I do remember that was my movie. Ghostbusters was the one where I like knew all the words when I was a kid and would say all the parts from it. I do not remember it though now. I watched it the other day and I was like, this is actually a really bad movie. It's really bad. Like the whole structure of that movie and like the way it flows, it's really, really bad.
What's your least favorite part about Ghostbusters? That's interesting.
Just the way they set up all the characters was just like trash. It's just like, and somehow they got a firehouse, and then somehow, they got a hearse and all this stuff, and somehow they're broke, and they're like, how are these people friends? Like it's super awkward movie. If you look at it now and just look at how people tell stories, it's just like, oh no, who paid for this one? But thank you. It's still dope, don't get me wrong, but just like in terms of like, it missed a few steps with that. Also, Caddyshack. Have you ever watched that movie?
I've seen Caddyshack, yeah.
I actually never watched it until like last year. That movie is really bad too. It's really bad. I don't know great. Who are we following in that movie? I don't know. I don't like it.
I
People are gonna hate me out the gate on this podcast. I'm just talking like I just like not making friends right now. Let's talk about some good stuff.
I was always following the Gopher, but that's just me.
Oh right, yeah.
So let's get even more specific. What was your first experience with anime? Like, what was the first anime you remember watching and falling in love with?
My first experience with anime was kind of like an in passing kind of thing where, you flick to a station and you'd see Dragon Ball or something in Japanese or like Doraemon. And you're like, what was that? Why did it look like that? Why is it so much better than all the other cartoons? Why does this look like it's for adults? Why does this look serious? Why does it look like they care? And then, like even seeing, they had a Sonic the Hedgehog one that was Japanese versus the American show that played out. And I saw like early, like you got to be up early in the morning to see that joint. Or I don't even know what channel it was on, but it was like you caught it and it was like, whoa, this is a serious Sonic. This ain't that kiddie stuff, you know. And then eventually, you know, I had a cousin who showed me Fist of the North Star and Akira and all that stuff, and all the manga back in the manga era of things, and like that really was the one that set me off. I think it was like Fist of the North Star, just because it was just so over the top and violent and stuff. You know, the guy was just like, you know, poke you,
Yeah.
your head would explode and all that stuff. I was like, dude, what is this? It's amazing. And Akira was dope too. And I think, but just like as a kid, I think seeing Fist of the North Star, it was just like, it just felt wrong. So you had to watch it.
Yo, that's crazy because I've been rewatching JoJo's Bizarre Adventure recently, and I forgot just how much Fist of the North Star inspired JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and like how much it's inspired like Fist of the North Star is like really one of, like, people know about it and appreciate it, but like not as much as you would expect considering how
Right.
influential it turned out to be.
Yeah. I think well, you know, there's some problems with that too. But I think that but you know, have you ever seen Ricky O? You ever see Ricky O?
I've never seen Ricky O. I won't
Ricky
front.
O is crazy. You should actually check that out because there's like some Fist of the North Starry stuff with that too. And it's like, ah man, Ricky O is sick, actually. That felt like what the Fist of the North Star movie should have been. But the live action joint was, oof, that was rugged, bro.
Oof. That's rough. I've also never seen the live action joint, so I guess I gotta throw that on my list too.
You should actually, it's worth looking at. It is worth looking at.
There's this,
They
like, for some
tried.
reason
They did try. They tried harder with that than they did Dragon Ball or whatever. So
right.
for that.
Yeah. Dragon Ball is in its own little
No, I guess
subdivision.
we're not
Like,
allowed to talk about it or something.
yeah, yeah. Never mind. I don't know what you mean. I
What
don't
are
know
we
what you're
talking
talking
about?
about.
What's going on?
So like while you were growing up and you were kind of like taking in film and taking in anime and all this stuff, and of course like getting into music with like your family history and everything, like was there ever a period of time when you were growing up when you consciously linked film and music together in your head? Because I know that when you got a little older you went to film school. That's where you went to college. So like when was the first time those two things kind of overlapped for you?
That's interesting. Um, I think for me, it's hard to pull out moments where music really did the thing because I was a kid who was always into music, whether I wanted to make it or not. I was always like very conscious of melodies and very conscious of music, uh, whether it be background or in a movie. You know, like even when we're talking about Ghostbusters, it was like I would sing the songs and stuff. I would know all the songs from, you know, anything on the radio. I would just like try to pick it up. But I do remember specifically falling in love with the Jurassic Park soundtrack when I was a kid. Like the theme, dun, 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 dun. That thing blew my mind. That theme right there was crazy. And I mean, Star Wars was great and all, but when I heard that, it was just like, also the movie, the effect that movie had on a 10-year-old, come on, man. And that music, I was just like, dinosaurs. I want to be a paleontologist. You know. But yeah, that was the one, I think.
Yeah, that's like, that movie has such cross-generational appeal. Like I don't think I've ever met a person, regardless of age, who doesn't like at least the first Jurassic Park. Like you can think whatever you want about the rest of them, but like that's just
Classic.
like,
It's a
yeah.
classic. It's just so well made, and you know you can watch it today, and it still has that wonderment. You know, just has that sense of awe. You know, when you see the dinosaurs, that I don't think you get in any of the other ones. There's just something about it where it's just like they just seem so. It seems real, even though the technology is a bit dated now. It just feels a bit more realer.
Yeah,
Like the stakes are
definitely.
higher, the danger is realer in those than that one.
Nah, for sure. And like every time I see that one of those last shots of like the T-Rex with the like when dinosaurs come to life
Oh,
banner,
come
like
on. This is like
yeah.
chills. Like,
Every time, like it's always like the
so
first time.
good. So good. Yep.
Like whoever
Epic.
whoever thought of that idea, I don't know
Right,
what
right.
one person like
You know, yeah,
they
some storyboard artists had that joint, man. It was like the storyboard artist. Spielberg gets the credit for it.
yeah.
Uh, man,
I hope that
man, Spielberg though, back in that time though, right? Like he had such a great streak.
yeah.
Jeez. I
Yeah.
don't know if anyone could top that.
Honestly, I don't know. I don't think anybody really can either. Like he
Yeah,
was
that's its
like
own
at
thing.
that time he was untouchable.
Yeah.
So before we get a little further into Yasuke, I actually wanted to ask you about the process behind some of a few of your music videos, because like your videos like on top of how immersive they are, like I know that you're very hands-on when it comes to pretty much every aspect of your creative process. So the first thing that comes to mind for me is the video for Never Catch Me, which is like like if we're talking about chills, like that's a video that gives me chills every time I watch it. Like
Mm.
just with the kids and like the entire concept of the video and the way the song flows so well into it, like it's really something. So what inspired you and the team to go with the theme of having the two kids ghosts dancing at the funeral, and like where did that whole idea come from?
That idea was a collaboration between myself and the director Hiro Murai. I think I think it just kind of came down to me kind of describing like a quick vision that I had of the song, and then he came back with a treatment that embellished on those ideas and brought so much more to them, and it became what it was. To be honest, it's so long ago that I don't remember exactly what the spark was, but I do remember that there was this kind of like running from death, this chasing, this thing that was happening. But yeah, it was so long ago. That was like almost, for me it feels like a lifetime ago when I did that. But
Right.
yeah, that was a beautiful moment. Is such an amazing director, and it's so crazy to see all the stuff that he's doing now as well. Like, and I think they're about to start Atlanta 3, season 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I'm pretty sure they started shooting it already. And just like he's just done everything. Like Hiro Murai is like between like Atlanta and like all the videos he's done for you and for just like we could list names all day, but like yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
he really brought a crazy vision to it. And also talk to me about the More video, because like that was when you and Shinichiro Watanabe
Yeah.
first connected.
That
So like how did
yeah,
that
I can
happen?
tell you about that. Well, he and I started talking when he approached me to do the Blade Runner short. Um, and ever since we started talking, I was just in his ear, like, yo, let's just keep it going. Let's just keep it going. And I remember we actually went to the Blade Runner 2049 premiere together. And
Mm.
he invited me because he didn't have a date. So I was his date to the to the movie. And so we rapped for a minute, and I was just, man, let's make a video, make a music video for me. And he was like, okay, for real. you know and ever since then I felt like it was like my job to kind of like, you know hold him to that idea, like, yo, it's time now, let's go. So I just sent him a few different ideas, and he really liked the More song, and yeah, we just built it from there. And again, it's like I still try to reach out to him here and there, like, don't you forget me, man. Like, I'm here, I'm waiting for the next call, let's go.
Right. Yeah, I was about to ask if you were if you would ever wanted to work with him again, but that seems like a given, right? Like
Yeah, I would. He's definitely a person who I'll stop anything for. Not many folks like that, but he's definitely one of those people. And I to be honest, I really do hope that I stay in the anime world for a while. I like it here. It feels right. I don't know. I don't know if it'll all feel right. Yasuke feels really right though for me. But
I mean, that's really all that matters, right? Like if
yeah,
it feels right, then
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so yeah, let's get into it. Let's get into Yasuke then. So
Sure.
before you came in, so like before you had started even working on the project or even had been like approached about it, what like had you heard the legend of Yasuke the Black Samurai before?
I only heard a little bit about Yasuke. I knew that he existed. I knew that there was this legendary black samurai. Uh, I didn't know much else, and I didn't think there was much else out there around when we first started working on the project. There was a lot of hearsay, a lot of speculation as to what his life was about, where he came from, which I found so inspiring because it just made it feel like, whoa, there's a whole bunch of this story that people might not know, or we could say, we could assume, and that to me was super inspiring versus like what we'd actually known already.
Right, right. So how did this all come about? Like who approached who? Like was this already a thing and you were brought on, or like were you there from jump?
uh I was brought in as the number three. There was like LaShawn, Lakeith, and myself. So
Mm.
maybe the three L's: LaShawn, Lakeith, and Lotus. The Trinity.
Hell
Whatever.
yeah.
Um, I think that um, yeah, when they brought me in, they had kind of like a loose treatment on where they wanted the story to go, and that plot kind of felt more like the actual history of Yasuke, and like more of like a traditional, kind of like a biopic kind of a thing, where uh, more like probably what the actual film of Yasuke will be when it comes out.
Right.
And and it just didn't feel like an anime to me at that point. So they had this treatment, and they let me kind of do my once over, and I kind of added all the magic and Saki, the little girl, and
Okay,
added
okay.
her mother, and the daimyo character, and like lots of little things as well. And that kind of, it was super inspiring to like add the weirder stuff, the trippy stuff to the story, like that. I feel like that's my biggest contribution. But I was just kind of approached out of the blue, to be totally honest, and I was in disbelief of this whole process. I mean, until I started scoring the picture, and then I was like, oh, okay, this feels real. Once I start getting final sequences, all right, this is feeling realer. And now this is feeling super real, talking to people who have actually seen the show, but it's still not real yet. But
Right,
yeah, it's been
right.
like 3 years in the making. It's been a ride.
That's incredible. So yeah, like for me, like I know it was really exciting to see that you had contributed to the story because I thought that you had only done the score. So when I saw your name on the credits, I was like, oh shit. So like it's
Yeah.
really dope. It's really dope for me to hear that you were the one who kind of spearheaded like the magical aspect of it. Like that's like so yeah, like bring it back. Like where did like what inspired you to go in that direction with Saki, and what inspired you to bring this like this like metaphysical aspect to something that feels a little more that would feel a little more grounded and physical otherwise.
I think personally, it just comes down to my interest and enthusiasm in projects. I didn't really feel like I would have had as much fun doing a project that was very traditional, and didn't have, a thing that I was really like trying to get is I want to make sure the show had some jokes too. I was like real worried that it was going to be very dry the whole time, like a very dry samurai thing. I was like, I don't know if I want to do that. I don't know if I want to show Yasuke being a slave. There was a lot of things I didn't want.
Nice.
I didn't want to show Yasuke uh, depicted as, in certain ways that we just continually see in Black media. I just wanted to show a different thing, and that's what I'm mostly proud of, to be honest, is just my contributions and kind of like making Yasuke a new character that we haven't seen before.
Right. Yeah, I appreciated that. Like as a black viewer, I appreciated being able to watch like all these different characters say to him like some variation on like you're always a servant and you'll always
Right.
be that, and he's just like, all right, you could think
Right.
that. Like that
Yeah.
it like and like he's stoic but not like he's stoic but he's vulnerable sometimes, and he's not like he's not this like unmoved figure, you know, like
Yeah.
he feels present. He doesn't feel like dead behind the eyes, and that's
And
dope.
yeah, that was a thing that I also wanted to show too, was that like the people in town, they liked it. Like that was
Right.
really important for me to show. Like he wasn't like, people didn't just treat him bad. Like the townspeople didn't just treat him bad out the gate because he was a foreigner, a black man, whatever. They gave him a shot, and they were like, yo, he's just a quiet dude, and I really wanted to show that and not have to show like, you know, no matter where you go, it's going to be hella racist kind of plot line. And, there is that element because that is reality. But I didn't want it to be like the focal point of the thing, and I think, again, that's one of those things that I'm very proud of with this show, for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Like yeah, like racism is something that's always in the fringes, but it doesn't have to be like it, like you said, it doesn't have to be the focal point. Like I really
It doesn't have
like
to
for me.
define Yasuke either.
Exactly. Right.
Like there was a certain things that I want to make sure, like, you mentioned that, Yasuke is stoic. There was a thing that I was like, what would be so jarring to people, and this is like kind of midway through the animation process. I talked to LaShawn, I was like, it'd be so jarring is if at the end credits we show Yasuke with a big old smile on his face, and then there's a frame of him like holding the kids up and he's got this big old cheese grin, and it's
Yeah,
like
the classic anime dad shit.
when
Yeah.
I see it, I'm like, that's the thing. And it's like, I wanted to show that, the kids liked him, the people liked Yasuke. And I think that in itself is like, it's kind of trippy to see. But why, right? It's like, why is that so weird to see? But yeah.
Right. Yeah, nah, I agree. Like there's before we move on, there was just like there was one bit that always made me laugh about the show, and it was whenever the big mecha, like the
The
yellow
robot.
mecha, yeah,
Yeah.
he was he just like couldn't wrap his head around like what race was, and like,
I
oh, like
know.
this is a black man, like
Yeah.
that shit killed me every
That
time.
robot is out of control, bro.
Whose idea was that? Was that you or was that somebody else? Because that was great. That took
I'm
me
not
out.
sure who wrote the black jokes for the robot. But but I have a feeling it might have been Alex Larson, Alex Twist. He's a cool friend, man. He's a really, really talented writer and used to be a battle rapper. And
Oh, word.
yeah. But that's why I love him. He's got the sensibility. I imagine that might have been him, but who knows?
Yeah.
Nick.
I just thought that was a cute detail that made me laugh.
Yeah, it's good.
So let's get to the score, because like, wow, this score, bro, like this thing you've assembled. I mean, like all of your music, this score that you've assembled, it kind of sits at the intersection of like ambient music, like a classical, like film score, lounge jazz, and like a beat tape. It's kind
Yeah.
of like it's of course more complicated than that, but that's kind of that's like the general feeling that I get from this in particular. It reminds me a lot of what you did on Flamagra, if I'm being completely honest. It feels almost like an extension of what you did on Flamagra, just like that tone. And so like for you, like when you were like, obviously this isn't your first time creating a score for something. Like of course you have Kuso and like you've dabbled in the past, but for you, like what's the biggest difference between putting together an album and composing a score for something like this?
The biggest difference is time, the time that you have. I wasn't prepared to work on the show in the capacity that I had to be totally honest. I thought that when it came down to it, I would have finished animation to score to, or closer to finished at least. But in the beginning, I was getting like storyboard sketches, like Stickman drawing that I had to get a vibe and like write some music to, you know. And I was like, that was really difficult. That was super difficult trying to like get an action scene based on like movements, you know, like that was
Yeah,
hard.
real
Like
basic shit.
trying to get the flow, but like it provided so many beautiful challenges, and it actually forced me to get out of my head a bit in terms of like uh, being okay with my decisions and trusting my instincts and just, you know, running with the story and how it makes me feel. You know, there's a lot of times where like, you know, when I'm doing a fight scene, I felt like I was fighting with my music. You know, I'm like helping Yasuke in his quest with my sound. You know, like I'm pushing that emotion forward. You know, like when he beat somebody, it felt like I won too. You know, it was like we did that, and like we had to do the show in like linearly, so I actually purposely try to avoid looking at any other episodes I wasn't working on so I could stay in the moment with the character and follow the journey and like just really treat it like I'm part of the story and not just kind of like this person looking at it. I try to be in it.
Right.
I was telling my management, you know, I was like, I am Yasuke right now. Okay. I am this. There's nothing else right now.
Right. And like that sort of like almost hectic atmosphere really translates to a lot of these scenes. Like the two that popped out to me, like both music wise and like animation wise, were the very first fight when Yasuke first meets the assassins, like at the end of the first episode,
Uh-huh.
and the bit when the monks are in the temple when the daimyo is attacking the temple. Like
Oh,
those two moments felt so dynamic to me in terms
thanks.
of like they just like the music and the animation like came together so beautifully there. And like I'm trying to say I can really feel what you're saying about you kind of
Yeah.
like pushing yourself.
Yeah, it was awesome, man. You know, like one of the scenes you're talking about, actually, I just remember, you know, I don't, when is this coming out? Should I spoil it? Can I spoil it? Or
this
should
is
I
this
just,
is this is
are we like
coming
no spoilers time?
this is coming the week after, so
Oh,
feel
week
free.
after we can
I'll just
spoil it. All right,
yeah,
cool.
go
All
go
right. So yeah,
please.
I love that part where like when there's yeah, the daimyo has her soldiers outside the temple and the shaman, it's like a shaman battle. And then the shaman summons this big old, you know, monster shaman spirit that comes out of the temple. That whole moment for me, I was like, I think it's episode 5, or is it? Yeah, I think it's 5. And I think I love that. I just every time I see it, even my own shit, I get chills. I'm like, oh, it's so cool.
There was that, and there was another. I just remembered another one. It was the bit where all the animation gets kind of watercolor. I think it might have been in episode 4 when like the little dream sequence where
Oh,
they
the dream
slice his head
sequence.
off
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
like the
yeah,
tree comes up. Like
yeah,
your music, like the music you put together there was beautiful. Like
yeah.
it
That was
really
funny
just
because thank you. The director, he warned me like back when I got episode 1, he was like, all right, when we do episode 3, there's a sequence in there that's like, it's the Flying Lotus sequence. I was like, oh, word, what is it? He was like, no, when you see it, you're gonna know exactly what it is. It's so Flying Lotus, and it with the cherry blossoms and the thing. I was like, okay, when I saw it, I was like, I know what you need. I know what this needs right now. And I got busy immediately. It was I love that scene too. Loved it so much.
yeah, it's really it's a really beautiful scene. It's
Thanks.
like I feel like that's the one that like that like you're about to see like all like the deviant art fan work of, and like all like the reworks on Twitter and Insta, like that's all gonna be from that one scene. I can tell already.
Oh, oh, oh. Right.
So like and then of course we got to talk about the intro, because like you and Thundercat did Black Gold, the
Yeah.
intro, and like I can't imagine how much of a full circle moment that must be for the two of you. You're fucking anime nuts, and
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
guys have an anime intro song. Like, what was it like seeing that? Like, A, what was it like working on it? And B, what was it like seeing it set to all the animation after it was done?
it's funny because that was the last thing that came in of all the stuff. All the episodes were done. You know,
Oh wow.
we had drafts of what the intro and the outro would be like, but we didn't have the final things until that was the very last thing. So it really was the icing on the cake. You know, we had for so long, we were just looking at temps of what this would be. Even the sound was temp of the score. So like when it finally did hit, it was like, wow. And there's a part of the intro that gives me chills too when I see it. And it's such a subtle thing, but um, it had to be that, you know, I really wanted Thundercat to be part of this thing. You know, he's part of it in so many ways aside from music. You know, like even story parts that I contributed have like pieces of him in it, and
Mm.
it's you know it's deep. It's super deep. It's deep for him to see the things when you know when we talk about when he knows certain things that I pulled from his life in the show. Is like whoa when you see it.
Wow.
So it's really special. It's a really special project for the both of us. Yeah, as well as Denzel Curry, who is part of the soundtrack. Now I could spoil that too, because that would probably be
Wow.
common
Shout out
knowledge.
to Zell, by the way.
Yeah, shouts to Zell. And he was like he was the worst because I was like, yo, man, please be part of this. You know it's gonna be weird if you're not part of this thing. Like we both had that understanding, but it was just so difficult to make anything happen for whatever reason, pandemic maybe. Um, but I'm so glad it did because he has to be part of Yasuke. He is also Yasuke for sure.
Wow. And yeah, like that's really like talk to me really, really quickly about your relationship with Denzel, because it seems like when you guys came together for Black Balloon, it seemed like you'd known each other for years, and it just felt like this should have happened like a minute ago. Like talk to me about like what you
We
guys see in each other.
we say that all the time. That's my boy. You know, like Denzel, like there's people you work with and there's people who you work with and you love their company and you love them as people and all that. And Denzel is one of those folks. And you know, I don't mind just hanging out with the guy, you know. So like when it's time to make music, it's like, oh yeah, we should make some stuff too, right? You know, so it's a beautiful thing to be able to have people like that in your life, but at the same time, we should be making more stuff. uh,
Facts.
yeah, we should be on our second album by now.
Man. Is there a first one? Is that what you're saying? Or like, no, no, no. Before I move on to my last two questions, I'm actually interested in what you said about you kind of incorporating Thundercat into this in more ways than just music. Like, would you mind elaborating a little bit on like how Thundercat inspired this and like your work on it? Or is that too
um,
personal?
I don't know if I should say. I mean, there's some. To me, it's obvious, but I don't know if I want to just put him on blast like that
Okay,
in this
that's fine.
moment. But like, but there's a lot of stuff that's like super personal, not just with him. It's like people around me that I know, and just like there's certain things that I was like when it came to like my part of like contributing the story, it was super easy because all I had to do is just pull from life.
What like what part of you, like what's the most prominent part of you that you would say is in the character of Yasuke?
That's interesting. I think that's a tough one for me to answer because it just it's a super tough thing to answer in that way because there's so many. It's like it's so layered. You know, when I see a character, it's not. It's like I could think of who it represents to me, but is that really that person or like a caricature of you know? Like it's just it's deep, but it's also just like such a blessing to be able to have story as outlet to have these characters who can surprise you and people who will bring life to them in ways that I didn't imagine as well. Um, it's just it's so beautiful. It's so cool. But yeah, there's a lot in there.
Yeah, totally. And that's the beautiful thing about like anime in particular, right? It's like it almost feels very communal. Like even before it had the explosion that it's had, and like I remember when I was growing up, like it wasn't as like I guess accepted as it is now.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
weird.
yeah.
It's weird and complicated, but like anime
I get it.
is to me always been like very communal in that regard, and like that stretches to the things that are in the characters and then the things that we project onto those characters. Like
Mm,
that's like such an integral part of the experience, and I think there's so much of that in Yasuke and like in all the characters and just it in general.
nice,
Yeah.
nice, nice.
Um. So I. Yeah.
What was
So
that?
so I have a couple more questions.
Sure, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just yeah. So um more than anything, what do you want people to take away from Yasuke?
Hmm. A lot. There's a lot. Um, I think the first thing I could think of though is it goes back to a conversation I had with LaShawn Thomas, the director. Um, it was a while ago, and I was like, why? Sincerely asked him, like, why are we like the first ones doing this? Like, why did it take so long? Like, why, why don't more Black kids aspire to do this? Why don't, what's so crazy about us? And he said that, you know, coming up, Black kids didn't have examples of that being a reality for them. Drawing and making cartoons, making manga and animation and stuff. You don't see a lot of Black kids doing it because it didn't seem like it was real for them or possibility. You don't see other Black people doing it. So that has something to do with it. That really sat with me. Is it true? I don't know. But I do hope that people can see this and see something else for themselves. You know, there's a huge Black community who loves anime. I know about it because I've seen it. I'm part of it.
Yep.
And I hope that this can inspire the next anime, the next series that doesn't have to do with history or some familiar IP or whatever. Like, I want to see a brand new story, brand new ideas, brand new people we never heard of before. And I think doing something like this can hopefully make room for more of those.
And I think it will. Like the hype is tangible. Like I can feel it. It's really like there's a lot building around this, and I
Hmm.
think people really appreciate that. So I think this is gonna be that for sure.
Hope so. Hope so.
Um, and my very last question for you is just like what else just like what else in general do you have going on that's coming in the future? Like I know personally I'm really excited for the time Captain Murphy makes his return, because Duality is almost 10 years old, and you know like
Damn, it's been a minute, huh?
the streets need it, son. The streets need
Been
it.
a minute. It's been a minute. Yeah. I've been thinking a lot about that. I've been thinking a lot about it. That's all I can say. I've been thinking about it.
That's
Yeah.
fair. That's
But
fair.
in terms of what's next, I don't know. I hope to be working on more TV stuff, to be honest. I really do like it here. Um, I want to do another anime with Netflix. Hopefully that happens. Hopefully that happens. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Beautiful. It if you could pick one, if you could pick one person that you'd want to do another anime in particular with, who would it be and
In
why?
terms of like actor or what?
Like it could be an actor, it could be a creative team. It doesn't really have like if you could find somebody else like LaShawn, for example, like it's like somebody in that realm. Like
To be honest, I really I've been thinking about an anime series and I really want to do one with Tierra Whack. I have some ideas.
wow.
Yeah, I have some ideas and hopefully we can do it at Netflix. I think it'd be really cool. You know, but she's also just like, you know, she's a shooting star, so I don't know if she's got time for anime anymore, but I think it would be so cool to have her be part of this thing
I
if it
mean,
ever happened.
Right. And she did just put out a video that was made entirely out of Lego by kids.
I
So I feel like
know.
she's got time. I feel like she's
I
got time.
know. I know. We'll see. We'll see. I love her. She's so inspiring. She's
Yeah.
such a genius.
For real. Like, yeah, and like Yellow Belly from Flamagra while we're there, like, yo,
Oh,
son, what a song. Like that's a song, man. Wow.
Thanks.
Yeah, no doubt. That's it for questions for me. I don't got nothing else.
Thank
But
you so
like,
much though for that.
yeah, yo, thank you. Like,
Great
honestly, like,
questions.
thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, like I've been a fan for I don't even know how long at this point. And your music and your whole vision has been so incredibly inspiring to me. Like, so thank you for everything you do, Lotus. Like, I really, really
Thank you
appreciate
so much, bro. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah, no doubt. Oh, that was tight. I really wish we could talk longer.
Yeah, you make it pretty easy. Thank you.
Thanks for listening. Shout out to y'all for making it this far. And shout out to all the Black people listening too, because y'all really impeccable. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell a friend to come through next time. 1.